This is part 7 of the Node-RED explanation videos, in which we'll be talking about the multiplayer flows. And here, first of all, we have the multiplayer pregame, which will be this tab here. Here you can select game mode, time limit, and opponent. Hang on, let me just get this back on. The game mode will be defined as either classic or pay. For multiplayer as well as single player, we'll be using game info to note all our information of what game is being played. Thus, the game info 1 will be set as the game mode, and game info 2 will be set as the time limit, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Then we've got the opponent tab right here, which will display all of your friends as possible opponents. This tab here has me logged in as David, and this tab here has me logged in as Kinaman, in which I'll only be one friend. We're doing this by this function here, in which we'll be having, if there are no friends, then it'll just be saying no friends. With the opposite, you have no friends, and it'll be grayed out so you cannot select it. Otherwise, we'll be using a for loop to note down what friends are actually available and set them as options. As you can see here. Sorry, I find this quite confusing with 3 tabs. They go into a drop down menu, and whoever you choose will be defined as the opponent as game info number 3. Then you can click on send game invite, and it'll first of all check if if either of them are empty, in which is say please fill out the required fields. If one of them, as in the game mode here, is set as pay, you'll get this feedback. Please fill. Sorry. You have not paid for extra game modes, which is this one here. If these don't count, but the last case is a case with the else, then the game info will be number 4 will be set as your current position, as your login position, and they'll be sent an MQTT comma separated string, as well as game invite has been sent, waiting for opponent to accept or decline. So I'm logged in as Kinaman on the other one. I'll send this one. Sorry, let me click on classic. And as you can see, game invite has been sent, waiting for opponent to accept or decline. On the opposing tab, which will receive this one through the multiplayer topic, if login info, login position is the same as the one that is the same that the person you want to challenge this position is, and it's multiplayer, then these go through. Otherwise, they'll note down as the person isn't online, as in being offline. So basically, the third one in the challenge right here is the opponent you're trying to challenge in the comma separated string. And if that person is online, then they'll say you've been challenged by the host, which is this right here, user matrix of 0, which is the user database, is user names, and then the position of number 4, which is the host, has challenged it to a duel, and with the information of the game itself. Game mode classic, time limit 200. You've then got the option to accept or deny in here. well, accept or decline, I suppose, which will go through this. And if you decline, then it will be sent through the MQTT string and will go down to this one. If you accept, then the challenge information will be set as game information. Because if you don't want to accept but keep on playing and picking further, let's say you're a single player and you've updated your game info to a bunch of single player things, then you'll keep wanting them and not have them updated. So this only happens if you've accepted. And well, you basically put the entire thing into game info and it'll send out accept. If, as previously mentioned, my apologies, if as previously mentioned, you are not online, if you received by the host in here, if the host is the same as your logged in position and the feedback was offline, then it'll say the user is not online, and that'll be in the end of that with it within this notification with the options of home or invite another. Invite another will go to the single player tab. I suppose I could display that. So I'm gonna log out here. I'm logged out and I'll send it. Okay, this is an error that we'll have to fix, but it says right here the person is not online and I have the option to invite another or home. Sorry, invite another just keeps you here, home goes the other way. Right, so um, the decline or accept feedback goes through this one with the topic multiplayer still. And if the topic is declined and you are not the person who is being challenged, which means you are the host, here it'll say the person you challenge has declined your game invitation. And the seventh one is if you'd like to retry the game, which means the seventh is dedicated to the person who would like to play again. So that depending on who wants to play again, this position might change. Then we've also got the accept button. And if the person accepts and the person is either one of the two being locked in, then the global the time tracker will be set to on, which is the same as explained in the single player video, and the multiplayer will be set as a new tab. Else if this isn't the case, as in we're not trying to play again the game, retry the game, play the game again, there we go, and the message is declined and you are the host, then you'll get the decline invitation message. Or if it's accepted, then you'll do the same thing as up here. So this is the declined message, which displays okay or I'm lonely. As previously mentioned, I'm lonely goes into the single player tab. Right, so when you accept on the other side, you go into this, and that is the loading here, which is explained in the single player video. The same thing goes for this one. So we'll be back to multiplayer game here. Right, so this is a multiplayer game and there's a time limit. I'm probably not gonna be able to explain this video within that time frame, but I'll give it a try, I suppose. So the first thing is there's a color block and there's a multiplayer text, which are these two up here and up there. Then we've got the create, host, and opponent names, which is quite simple. First of all, you're gonna use the GameInfo3 and GameInfo4 for those two fields and then put them in and display them in these two, which cover David and Kinaman on both of them. And the host will always be the one on the left of those. So since David invited, they will be on the left side. Then there's a quit as a loser button, which goes over to game over through the UI control, so that both will know that the person has quit. You cannot see it right here, but quit as a loser here goes through the MQTT, and then both will know. And then all apps will know if you are either the host or the opponent. Then there's this one, whenever a player scores. When a player scores, if the host hoop or opponent hoop scores, then the P1 score and P2 score will update accordingly. P1 score, the 0 one, will be score, as in how many times you've scored. Sorry, here we go. Right, let's try again. This one says it's 10 minutes. That's smarter. Nope. And at the same time, if the opponent is in the green field, sorry, if you are in the green field yourself, the opponent, as in P2 score, will be added, will have a bar trigger go up by 1. So, right now, I'm in the green field. I'll give my opponent a bar trigger +1, and I'll add 1 score to myself if I click on right here. So this, my point, is my P1 score of 0. 1 score of 0, which goes ++, and the opponent will have +1 in his P2 score of 1. If the, if a person scores and a person is in a yellow field, then that person's bar trigger will go -2, or if you're in a red field, it'll be -3. This right here cover the entire thing for the player 1 status, while the player 2 status is the exact same thing, except it says player 2 score instead of player 1 score. So if player 1 score is in the green field and goes to yellow, then the P1 score of 2 will be set to yellow, and there'll be a level change, which is host hoop plus comma plus yellow, and that one will be sent through MQTT so that the Node MCUs will know that you've changed a level, and the difficulty will become harder. So for Kinaman, if I score 2 more times, now he's being put into yellow and his hoop will start moving faster, making it more difficult for him to score. So that's what happens. Here goes from green to yellow, and here from yellow to green, from yellow to red, and from red to yellow. And as mentioned, the same thing happens for player 2 score. Then we've got this one, which shows the score and the bar graphic. The score, score is the score down here, which is quite simple. It's just a number, but it gets bigger depending on how much ahead you are. If you are more than 10 points ahead, as in if P1 score of 0 is bigger than 10 compared to P2 score, then the font sizes will be font size 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, will be font size 7, and font size 4 for the other player. Otherwise, if it's 5 or more points, it'll be 6 and 4, or if it's 1 or more point, it'll be 5 and 4. So if I'm more than 5 points over, it'll increase in font size again, which you could see what's happening right there. Then we've got these here, which are the bars, and the bars are these graphics here. We've got 9 graphics, and that is for each bar. Sorry, we've got 10 graphics, as 0 also counts. So that a bar keeps rising whenever a person scores, or it keeps lowering depending on the situation. And that means a new graphic is being inserted into the HTML host bar here and opponent bar. Host bar, opponent bar. And the scores that I keep updating are these that are being sent out. So that is what this does. And if the game is over, as in time tracker is not stopped, sorry, if the game is keep going, then, sorry, no, if the game is over, then nothing will happen and it'll be set to number 5, which will be game over, as in the person has won, well, whichever person is being talked about. So that's the entire bar and bar tracking and keeping track of that. Now we've got the time option here, well, not option, the time system down here. Just like in single player and, well, the loading screen also, we are making use of a 1-second delay here to display our time that keeps counting down. In here, it's very similar to the one from single player. We define a bunch of variables first, then if we're not playing single player game, we'll keep on going, otherwise this one will do nothing. And the time will keep going down by 1, minus minus. If time tracker equals stop, then we'll stop the game as well. If time is 0 or less, then we'll also stop the game. And otherwise, the first time while we send out multi-game and the time tracker is on, then we'll be setting the time to 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, depending on which time limit was set. And as in single player, if there's less or 10 seconds left of the game mode, then the font size will increase for the time remaining here, and it will be set to red to add a dramatic effect. And this entire thing here is gonna be putting the time from seconds into this format, which is easily readable. The minutes colon seconds. And that is what is gonna happen here. We've also got these 2 buttons, which are simulating the MQTT for whenever the sensors register a score on either hoop, depending on, well, which hoop you are using, which will be using the multiplayer topic, just like the MQTTs, so that we can click one of those and something will happen. That is the video for multiplayer. Thank you for watching.